All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning from Washington, D.C. I know you are all over the world, and it's really exciting to have you joining us for the 2020 Summit. We are going to be speaking over the next couple of days about this new world of work, how to lead organizations and people in a very volatile, chaotic, tech-driven new world of work. And over the next couple of days, we're going to be talking about technology, but we're also going to be talking about culture and what has been known as the soft skills, which are not really soft, and they are, pretty important for any organization today. So day number one, we are going to be dedicated to talking about technology, digital transformation, disruptive technologies, and tomorrow we are going to be talking about culture, diversity, leadership, and employee experience. So I am incredibly excited to welcome Jason. Thank you so much, Jason, for joining our session. Jason, we know each other for quite a while now, and Jason has been traveling all over the world, researching, understanding, and helping clients with business transformation and HR transformation. So it is a pleasure for me and an honor to have you today with us, Jason. So thank you so much, and please welcome.
Enrique, thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to say congratulations on your first event like this. It's an extreme honor to have the opportunity to join you, and great work for everything that you're doing in the community. I really, really appreciate it on behalf of the entire community. So
fantastic.
Thanks, Enrique. So what I want to do today is really quickly walk through what is transformation in today's world. And what we're going to do for 15, 20 minutes is we're going to talk about the keys that you need as an organization to truly hack HR. And when we talk about hack HR, one of the most exciting things about hacking HR is it's in our ability. It's in no one else's ability to do it. It's our ability to do it. It's within ourselves to do it. And if we don't do it, no one's going to do it. I always say it's one of the oldest professions in the world we work in, and someone's got to help us get there. So I always start with this quote when I talk: if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. And we're at that point. The rate of change outside of HR and outside of organizations has gotten to the point where it exceeds the rate of change inside. Inside HR, we still do things like we did them 30, 40 years ago. Inside business, we still do them things like we did 30, 40 years ago. And when that happens, we can't be successful. We can't be successful in attracting and retaining the workers we need. So it's about time that we start communicating in the year we live. The year we live, everyone knows, is 2019. I hope there's no one on this call that doesn't realize that it's 2019. Even Enrique, who drives all over the world and does crazy things all over the world, realizes that it's 2019. But the question we have to ask ourselves is, what year is it inside of work? So when you're outside of work and all of a sudden you get inside to work, how do you feel? Does it feel the same? Is it the same to get things done? Not just talking about technology, you guys. We're talking about processes. We're talking about capabilities. We're talking about, does anyone actually care how you feel? Does anyone actually care how fast things get done? Do you get notifications? Do you actually do thumbs up, thumbs down type sentiment surveys? All of that stuff happens outside of work. And we're used to it on our smartphones. We're used to it on our devices. But when we get to work, what happens? It's usually a chasm of 10 plus years. And when it's a chasm of 10 plus years, the expectations of the workforce have changed so much that they shift from being engaged to being enraged. They shift from being engaged to being enraged. They can't get stuff done. They can't find the answers. We in HR spent all this time talking about how we're going to deliver capabilities and services to people. Yet what do they end up doing? Talking to their buddy, talking to their HR person, and all of the tools that we've put in place to digitize the function have changed. So what we're going to do for the next 10, 15 minutes is talk about that. What is digital? We live in a world where everyone gets consumed thinking that digital is technology. Digital is technology. And digital is the furthest thing from technology. Digital is a way of thinking. If you think hacking HR is a way of thinking, digital is a way of thinking. It requires us to take the blinders off of thinking that we can buy a piece of technology and have it be the silver bullet. It requires us to realize that digital is a combination of mindset, people, process, and technology. Those 4 components. Without each of them, we have a 90% chance of failure or more. And where do most people start? They start with buying technology, like I said before. So what we need to do is we need to start with mindset and then move around this circle into people, move around this circle into process, move around this circle into technology. And then once we're live, don't stop. But once we're live, continue on and to continue to innovate. So let's talk about what each of those things are for a second. Let's talk about what each of those 4 things are. When we talk about mindset, it's creating a vision. And I'm just going to say it and say it very, very loud and say it very, very proud. Very similar to what Simon Sinek would say, someone I've had the opportunity to speak with multiple times on stage. We're not talking about the what, we're talking about the why. We're not talking about the what, we're talking about the why. Why would we hack HR? Why? So it's a cool thing to do? No, it's not. We hack HR and we think about transforming the function because it means something to our business. It gives our business a competitive edge. And if we don't see it that way, then I would ask you, why are we doing it? And you should ask yourselves, why are we doing it? When we think about our vision, we should have a map. We should have a strategy. And let's not get too deep into it for purposes of this. Let's just say in 30 seconds, on a cocktail napkin, wherever you are in the world, you should be able to say, here's my vision for what it is I'm trying to do. Here are my guiding principles. Here are my attributes and how I want the experience to feel. And lastly, but not least, how am I going to measure success? Because this is one of the things that we suck at. We suck at measuring success. We suck at trumpeting success. We suck at taking success and actually turning it into our next initiative. We go live and then we're done. That's a huge mistake. And we have to think in a world that's continuous improving, that's focusing on agile, that our measures of success just keep moving us along. We never actually transform. We always mature. And we are always maturing. So it requires us to ask ourselves this question: what do we as a function want to be great at versus what is it okay to be okay at? Very simple, very blunt. What do we want to be great at versus what is it okay to be okay at? If you can't answer this, why are we doing what we're doing? And as I said, we're doing this to drive engagement. The engagement of the people that come to work every day to drive our competitive edge. And our job is not to enrage them. When they talk to their device and say, tell me how many days off do I have left so I can travel around the world like Enrique, I don't know who you are. When I search for paid time off on my portal or my link farm, I don't expect something that gives me 500,000 results. I want to be engaged. I want to be engaged as an employee, and that's what's going to deliver the best work to an organization. So we talk about mindset. It leads me to a conversation about people, and not just peanut butter spreading what we do from HR across an entire organization, but truly thinking about knowing how our people work, truly understanding the persona of our people, and designing for them. If there's one thing I could give advice to any HR leader around the world, it's to stop designing for HR and start designing for the workforce. If you look at tools like Instagram, look at tools like LinkedIn, do they design for the administrator? No, they design for the end user. And guess what? If they design for the end user, we have better data. Why does Instagram know so much about us? Why does LinkedIn know so much about us? Because they've designed for us. They've got us. They use our data to make things better for us, to drive value. That's what we need to think like when we think about HR and when we think about digital. And we have to map people not within modules, like a lot of technology vendors will provide us, which is their job. That's the technology vendor's job. But we map journeys. We map journeys and we think about how people feel every step of the way on that journey, which leads us to a discussion. We've got our vision. We understand our people and how they work. Next, we want to think about our processes. And in most organizations, HR processes haven't been reinvented. And let's cut to the chase. I'm not talking about optimized. I'm saying most HR processes haven't been reinvented for 10 plus years. And that's just sadly wrong because our world has changed so much around us. It requires us to ask ourselves, are we simply automating or are we truly trying to digitize? Automation, taking a piece of paper and putting it online, which by the way, cool. Works for some people in some examples. But digitizing, could I use that same data to drive more value, both to the workforce and to myself as an HR leader? And the answer is, oh my goodness, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. The more data I have used correctly, the better I'm going to be in my role. And we think about how do we deliver services. So, I spend 75% of my time working with HR leaders, or, if you guys don't follow me on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn, posting videos. I post a video every single day nearly that talks about this. How do we serve our workforce? There's two types of touching in HR. I realize touching is usually off limits in HR, but two types of touching. Everyone says, I want to be high touch. Are you going to be high touch human or high touch digital? There are reasons to be high touch human. There are reasons to be high touch digital. There are certain use cases for both. We have to think about how do we deliver services in the most optimal way. And remembering the reason and the how we deliver services lead us to the understanding that it's not about the how, it's not about what we did, it's not about checking the box transactionally only, but it's thinking about how we make people feel. Every interaction, how do we make people feel? Do we make them feel like, HR call center, can I help you? Or do we say, I'm an experience center, I'm your experience agent, I'm going to create a memorable experience for you that's going to make you want to stay working here. That's going to make you want to continue to add value to the organization. That's understanding of process. Finally, it leads us to technology. And you guys realize I'm doing this mega quick. So like I said, follow on LinkedIn, follow on Twitter. All I do is talk about this all day long. We have to ask ourselves when it comes to technology, are we truly transforming or are we transitioning? Two types of transition versus transformation. And you have to be bluntly honest with yourself and say, which one are you doing? If you're transitioning technology-wise, what you're doing is you're shifting from one technology to another, which if you can do that, hallelujah. Like if that's what your goal is, that's how you're going to measure success, great. If you're truly going to transform, the key thing to think about if you're going to transform is you're changing the way people work. You're changing the way people work. So you have to ask yourself, you have to look at yourselves in the mirror and say, am I truly transitioning or am I trying to transform? And become real with yourself as to what the answer is there. As I do that, we have to realize that the way that people become engaged and not enraged is through personalization. I have to make them feel like it's designed for them. And the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to technology is to not get so stuck on the concept that a user interface delivers a great experience. Okay, we live in this world where whether we're using a device, whether we're using our laptop, no matter what we're using, we have interfaces all over the place. But if I go on Uber or Lyft, or if I go, whatever the tool is, Grab over in Singapore, wherever I'm watching this, whatever my taxi cab app is, it might have a great user interface, but if the car doesn't show up, bad experience. If I'm shopping online, whether it's on Alibaba or whether it's on Amazon, might be great user interface, but if the product doesn't show up, bad experience. If it doesn't make me feel good, bad experience. And guess what? Bad experience, I don't come back. I always ask this question. If you download an app from the App Store, if you don't use it, how long do you give it to prove itself? Seconds. If it doesn't get better, what do? Delete it. How often do you go back to see if it gets better? You don't. That being said, we have this moment to prove. And while we're proving, we have to realize that employees have stuff coming at us from all over the place. All over the place. HR, finance, IT, operations, and guess what? Within HR, recruiting, performance, learning, comp, employee value proposition. So what we need to do is we need to stop talking about HR technology, which means technology for HR people. We need to start talking about people solutions. And we need to realize that what we're trying to do with our experience platforms of today is we're trying to put one IV into the arm of our employee. And through that IV, we shoot the employee value proposition. We shoot new ways to do performance. We shoot new ways to do our expenses. We shoot new ways to do learning. We shoot new ways to talk about culture. Through that one IV, So we're not bloodying my arm. We're not black and bluing my arm up with all these different channels that I don't know where to go. And by the way, I don't even know how to spell HR or IT. I need one IV. And that's the experience world I live in today. I have one device. I have one Siri. I need one IV to deliver the capabilities, deliver the services that's going to make my organization successful. So just in summary, I talked about the 4 things required. The 4 things required to transform. And you have a massive opportunity with the Hacking HR 2020 Summit here over the next couple of days to truly think about this stuff and say, which of these pieces am I going to take away and instill back in my organization? And whenever I present, I always make it publicly known. If you ever want me to do this presentation for your organization, happy to do it anytime. Connect with me on LinkedIn. We'll get on video, do it the exact same way, only a little bit more detail. What are the 4 things again? Mindset and vision need to be created. If you're working with an executive team where mindset's not created, stop. Stop and create it. Your workforce needs to be understood. Not how many you have, but how they work and how they best interact. Our processes need to be reimagined in a way that ties to the world we live in today, realizing once again, it's 2019, it's almost 2020. I don't measure things once a year anymore. I don't do engagement surveys once a year anymore. I have to reimagine my processes. And lastly, the technology is not the shiny object. The technology is the fuel. The technology is the fuel that brings all of this to life and allows it to happen. But at the end of the day, I've talked about 4 things. The 5th, and probably most important, is that we have to be the change agents. Nothing is going to change unless we change. If we get stuck up in the status quo, if we get stuck up in the concepts of doing things the way we've always done them, or, oh, Jason, it's going to be too hard to do this because someone else is going to have to approve it. And that someone else, we don't even know who it is. If we don't change, nothing's going to change. That's what I wanted to help get across to you today. I hope it was helpful. As I said, I talk about this all day long on LinkedIn. I talk about this all day long and share examples of work that LeapGen is doing with clients. In summary, really important, the leap in LeapGen, I like to talk about it because I think that it hopefully inspires you in everything you do in your career. I have a great friend, his name is Steve Farber. He wrote a book called The Radical Leap, L-E-A-P. And LEAP, in the case of Steve, and in the case of our company, stands for love, energy, audacity, and proof. Love, energy, audacity, and proof. Love what you do, which if you love what you do, generates energy. If you have energy, you do the audacious things. and the audacious things are required to change our industry. And lastly, once you do them, trumpet them, prove the value of them, and then do that over again. Keep leaping, keep leaping, keep leaping. Love, energy, audacity, and proof. That's LEAP. I thank you guys so much for the opportunity to kick off the Disrupt 2020 Summit here. It's a great, great forum, as I said, that Enrique's put together, and I can't wait to take part and learn through the content delivery myself. Thanks a lot, and have a great rest of the event. Take care, everyone.